Hey everyone. Thank you for joining us for yet another Thursday live in the lounge. We appreciate you taking a half hour out of your busy weekday night to meet with us as we talk about different topics pertaining to parenthood, motherhood in general, lifestyle, insanity. I'm Dana.
I'm Jamie, and I can relate to insanity.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Wait till Katy comes on. She'll tell you insanity also. So unfortunately, we are not side by side now. Jamie had to go back to the cold Connecticut weather.
Well, it was warm. And then today it's freezing, and then it's going to be 80 next week. Like parts of the Northeast got snow yesterday and today.
That's insane. And yeah, one of our projects in Ohio got snow.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
That's so crazy. But well, we're glad you're here. So everyone, if you're there, please by all means comment below, or I think it's below for YouTube also, but comment below. We'd love to hear that you're there. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments as well, and we will be sure to get to them as soon as possible. Right now I'm going to I'm going to introduce Katy. We're going to be talking about pregnancy after loss, postpartum anxiety, and how us as women and our partners can persevere. I met Katy a few years back at a conference. I think it was the last conference that I went to for blogging, which was kind of sad. But hopefully we'll get back into the swing of things. We were talking about this with Alicia last week. So now I'm going to bring her on and introduce her to you guys as well. Hello, Miss Katy.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I am doing well. I'm feeling you on the weather, Jamie. I'm in Atlanta where it's normally like really, really, really hot already, and it's pollen everywhere in the air. I can't breathe. My sinuses are insane. But it's 30 degrees outside. I came to school this morning. Like, what the hell?
I know. I'm freezing. I have a heater on. I just almost knocked a glass over. This is the life we live, right?
I saw that. That was fast reflexes. Yeah.
I didn't knock the one that had alcohol in it. It was the water one. I would be even faster if it was this. I'm just kidding.
It's priorities. We understand.
Absolutely.
So, Katy, thank you so much for joining us. I haven't seen you since, I guess it was called Plaid Street, right?
Yeah, they changed the name. It was weird.
I know. And now it's no more. So now we're going to have to figure out some other conferences.
Waitlist yourself for Mom 2 in Miami. I have a hotel room.
Wait, what?
It's in September. If we can travel.
Well, where she's there. She lives there.
Right, I know. So they're on a wait list right now, but the vibe I'm getting from them is that they're having a wait list because they're waiting to like be allowed to have more people with protocols and things opening up. So I feel like people who join the wait list are going to be able to go, which in past years is not the case. But this year I think it will be.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I have to go on the wait list. That's awesome.
It's also just the best conference in the world. So
it is. It's such a great, it's called Mom 2.0.
Yes. Mom 2.0, best conference. Like, I don't care. You don't even have to be an online business. Just go for the like swag and fun. It's amazing.
Yeah. The swag was crazy. The swag was, someone that just asked, what is it called? It's Mom 2.0 and it's in Miami. I went to the one in Orlando. Did you go to that one?
No, I went to the one, my first one was the one in, in Austin.
Oh, that must have been so much fun.
Awesome. And then, of course, I was registered for LA and hey, COVID.
So annoying. I can't even. I know. I hear you. But okay, so we have something to look forward to. Jamie, you're going to have to come down.
When is it?
September like 30th or something like that.
Yes, I'm coming.
I will send you a calendar entry.
You'll have to remind me to book the flight and do all the other things too.
Yeah, she's like, so send me a calendar entry. But all right, so let's get down to So Katy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. I am Katy Huey Harrison. I am the founder of Undefining Motherhood, which is an educational and advocacy website for women at all stages of the childbearing and child rearing processes. And so we grew out of my history with recurrent pregnancy loss. And it originally started as a site where I wanted to talk about how we define what it means to be a mother, in terms of looking at women who are going through reproductive struggles, who are mothers, in my opinion. My first Mother's Day with my living son, people were wishing me a happy first Mother's Day. And I was like, thanks. I think it's my fourth. And so that's really where everything sort of began. It kind of has just blown up from there. And so it's really turned into a space where we look at undefining motherhood from all angles. So the ways in which the world we live in puts all of these expectations on us to be not only mothers, but certain types of mothers, and how that impacts our senses of self-worth, our senses of mom guilt. And we work to just kind of dispel all of it. So I'm a writer by profession, and I have a PhD in English. So I love to just take my academic research background and like really dig into stuff, and then talk to you about it. And so that's what we do over on Undefining Motherhood, and it's an amazing space.
So can you define undefining motherhood? Because you speak of an interesting story on your website about how the name came about, and people questioned why you said undefining.
Yes. So I spent 10 years in academia researching Victorian motherhood, so 19th century motherhood in England. And what I was finding was that, so this sounds boring, but I promise I have a point.
I don't think it's boring. I'm so intrigued to understand.
It's so cool. So what's happening at this point in time, this is what my PhD is in, is you have the Industrial Revolution. So what that means is that all of a sudden, for the first time, printing becomes accessible. And because printing becomes cheap, people start learning to read. So until the 1830s, 1840s, nobody could read except the very, very upper elite, like the 1% of the 1% were able to read. Well, all of a sudden, people are learning to read. Mass quantities of print material are coming out, and they're telling women what they need to do to become mothers, and not just to become mothers, but to be mothers. How do you mother? They had what was called conduct manuals, where you were told how you were supposed to behave, and like the amount of time you should spend with your children versus your husband. They're very like upper middle class, like assuming you have servants trying to help you. But this stuff is coming out in mass. It's in books, it's in magazines, it's in print pamphlets, it's in medical pamphlets, it's what doctors are publishing. And women are just being beat over the head with this. And so I was just finding out about it, and I was like, how are these women functioning? Because they're just getting hit from all angles with all of this advice. It's totally conflicting. And that, by the way, is all written by men who don't understand their bodies, who don't understand their lives or experiences. And somehow these men are telling them everything they're supposed to do, and they're being like publicly judged for it. Like people would write very public articles about, look at this terrible example of a mom. And it was heinous. And so I spent a long time like sitting in this really quiet reading room in the British Library trying to stifle my gasps because I was just constantly appalled. And then I came home and I finished my dissertation, and I got a job teaching at Georgia Tech, and I was loving life. And then I started going through recurrent pregnancy loss, and I started realizing there are a lot of people telling me a lot of things who don't know anything about what I'm going through, and who all have very conflicting advice. And all of a sudden, I was like, wait a minute. How different is this? we're also in an age of proliferation. We have the internet, we have publishing booms, we have mom blogs and parenting magazines and every different parenting style you can imagine. And, it made me think of that do you remember the Similac commercial where like the moms, there's like the baby wearing mom and the bottle feeding mom and the breastfeeding mom, and they're all apart, and then the stroller starts to roll down the hill, and all of a sudden they all unify to run like save this baby from falling down the hill. Mm-hmm. It made me think of this. Like we have these cliques almost in parenthood, and we have all these different things telling us the ways we have to do things. And I was like, this is a mom space, right? No kids in the background. This is bullshit. So I actually ended up leaving my job at Georgia Tech, and I launched Undefining Motherhood, the website. I'm working on Undefining Motherhood, the book, that tackles the 10, not the 10, there are plenty more than 10, but tackles 10 myths that we're told about becoming and being mothers, and how those myths hurt us as women and make us feel less than and judged. And so that's an amazing project that's also ongoing. And so I decided, you know what, we've been doing this for centuries. It's enough. It's enough. And so I started Undefining Motherhood. And then the story that Dana is referring to, my mom asked me one day, she was like, so I don't understand undefining. Like no one knows what that means. Why isn't it redefining motherhood? And I was like, because if we redefine, we're still telling people what's right. We're still placing people in boxes. We're still putting these very specific expectations on women. And I'm sick of it. No more. Like, let's just figure out how to do this in a way that recognizes the individuality of being a woman and being a mother. And so that is like my ultimate goal in life. We're going to get there, and hopefully I'm going to have a hand in it.
I think you're on the right track.
I mean, I like think back that you're even describing that there were like handbooks on how to be like a job. I mean, at least there was acknowledgement that it was work at some point.
Yes, there was. That's true. There was kind of acknowledgement that it was work, but also
it was written by the wrong people, though.
it was bad. Like it was bad.
And you know what it reminds me of? I think it was, I don't know if it was Reader's Digest, or there was some article that always gets circulated on social media about like the woman, a half hour for the wife, a half hour before the husband comes home, has to do her makeup and her hair, put on her dress and have his slippers and his drink ready. I'm like, there are no kids here. What the fuck? Like, but people believed in it. It's along that same vein of the wrong people defining, what they feel it should be.
Well, and ultimately, the belief was the wife is there to serve the husband. Right. And the kids are secondary to that. So if the kids need to be hushed away into another space so that she can go make herself look pretty, then that's what she's going to do. And so, I mean, it's something that we've carried along for, I mean, even many of our parents would, my parents didn't personally adhere to that standard, but I know people who did. So, it's a very recent phenomenon that women don't feel like they have to do those things. And I'm just trying to continue to move that lever a little bit further.
Yeah, no. Do you have will you give us a hint to one of the myths that it doesn't have to be any of the 10 that are in your book, because I don't want to give away your book, but any of the myths that you've recently debunked or people ask you about?
So the main myth, well, the first myth actually, which is a really fun one, is that you're supposed to want to be a mother. And it talks about how we're raised and the toys that are marketed to us. And, we grow up playing in these roles where we are led to believe that we're supposed to want to be mothers at all. And so what does that then do to the women who say, hey, I don't know. I don't know if I want this, or no, I definitely don't want this. Where are those women left if this is what our society is teaching us? And so that's just the first one. And then it follows chronologically from there. So we cover myths like getting pregnant is easy. We're taught in health class that you look at a boy wrong and you're going to get pregnant. And then we go through fertility statistics. Getting pregnant equals having a baby. The pregnancy glow. And then the fifth one is about instantly bonding. You'll instantly bond with your baby.
Right.
Definitely that for me, that was a really hard one to learn in real time. That was not true. And so that's number 5. And then all the rest are about motherhood specifically. So the first half of the book is about the journey to or away from motherhood. And then the second half of the book is about actually living in action of motherhood.
So I want to definitely, I mean, you shared so much, which I like, my head's going to explode because I could relate to so many of them. But the first myth about like, just because we are women and you should naturally want to be a mother. So I remember in like high school, there was it was like it wasn't even, it was like a social studies teacher where I asked the question, like, how many children do you want to have? Right. And so he was like 3, 2, 1, and like 0. And that was me. I was literally the only person at that time.
Yeah.
I have 3 children. I'm grateful for it. But like and everyone was like, the reaction to that, right? I mean, I remember it, how many years later, that it wasn't natural. I didn't always imagine that was necessarily the path, but the like societal pressures of course, that's part of the plan, whatever that looks like. I mean, it's so wild to think about that. I have
friends who are, 40 years old who have said for 20 years that they never wanted children. And they still say that they don't want children. Yes. And people continue to tell them, oh, you'll change your mind. You'll change it. Like, really?
Yeah.
We're still doing that? That's
well, my daughter's 17 and she says that. And I try not to react to it because it's not about, there shouldn't be a reaction to it, right? She's like, I want dogs and I want cats. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. It's possible. Like, yeah, you might change your mind and that's cool. But who am I to say that you're going to? I don't know. Yeah. You do you.
Love that.
I know that's been a phrase going around a lot lately, that we like, you do you, like you need to do you, and you need to not judge and push upon other people what you believe. Everyone's so different. I mean, even more so now than ever before.
Really,
it's unbelievable. So you have a beautiful child now.
I do. He turns 4 in June.
Wow.
Hopefully he's asleep. I don't know. I'll find out.
Don't worry. It's under control.
It'll be fine. So tell us a little bit about the new product that did you roll it out yet? You just recently rolled it?
I rolled it out 2-3 weeks ago. God, it's also blurry. Okay. Like you're rolling something out and it is so blurry, but it is a pregnancy planner. It's called Expecting and Organized. And it is basically everything that I wish I had when I was pregnant with Jack. So if you're watching this and you've been through infertility or you've been through loss, then you probably have a familiarity with the massive panic that tends to come with pregnancy. And so after 4 losses and then finally having my son, I was not in a place where I was really comfortable or willing to envision him being here. And so I did the physical preparation that needed to be done. He had a nursery and he had changing tables and he had diapers and clothes and I had a breast pump and like we were good, but I had done none of the mental labor. And even the preparatory things that I did that were really like surface level things that just had to happen were really hard for me. I didn't want to do them. I couldn't take myself to that headspace of believing he was coming. So anytime I create a product, I'm creating it because it's something I wish I had had. I have a journal for pregnancy loss that is what I wish I had had when I'd gone through it. I'm writing a book that is what I wish I had had when I was much younger. And that's exactly what this is. So I developed a really severe postpartum anxiety after Jack was born. And I do not believe that having had this planner would have prevented my postpartum anxiety. But I do believe that it would have left me much better prepared to deal with it and that I wouldn't have necessarily struggled to the level that I did. Because imagine the paradigm shift from going literally in the hospital saying to my husband, if we get to bring Jack home, Are you going to get up with him at night too? Like, we're just having these conversations for the first time in the hospital,
Right.
and I'm still using the word if. To all of a sudden, you have this tiny human who needs you to care for them, and you're not ready for that in any way, shape, or form. And so I really created this as sort of the answer to that problem, or it's kind of for the type A mom who wants to plan everything, and also for the hands-off mom who wants it all done for her. And so we have beautiful tabs that divide it into different sections. So based on where you are in pregnancy, you know what you need to do. And we talk you through not just things like product recommendations. So like, here's where we start talking about gearing up for baby registry recommendations. And so then we have all these lists of items that you're going to need. But we don't just give product recommendations. We give the recommendations, and then we give a little blurb at the top that says, like, here's what this is and why you want it.
Yeah.
And
all these assumptions, we just know what to do.
right. So, like, you know, I tell everybody, I go to baby showers and I give people vaginal ice packs and Tux pads and dermaplast and stool softener and laxative suppositories, and they're like, oh, and I'm like, text me when you need to know how to use these. And so now they don't have to text me, because there's a special dedicated page right in here that explains what the use of all of those is, why you need them, what else you need in your postpartum station in your bathroom. And so we talk about just all the things that no one tells you. And we do it in this very like Erin Condren planner kind of way. So it's just my pride and joy. Right now, I'm so proud of this, and I'm just really thankful to have finally rolled it out into the world. It's being beautifully received. I'm just incredibly humbled by the feedback that I'm getting from moms who are using it. And I am already looking forward to, you know, getting the next batch printed, because we're starting to run low. And point where we can give it to people, you know, get it out, not just to the moms who need it, but hey, this is a great gift for your first time mom. It's actually the best gift for your first time mom. And so, yeah, it's a huge, exciting adventure.
I wish I had that.
I know, right?
I mean, I was lucky I had my sister, because she had.
Aww, I
I
didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Well, you played it off really well. I thought you knew what you were doing.
We just pretend.
Yeah, that's your point, right?
And Ryan was still alive and kicking when I was pregnant with Nathan, so I figured you knew something. No, but it's so helpful, and I think why your particular planner is so well received is because it's so practical.
Exactly.
It's not just flowers and drawings.
Oh, I know.
You know?
Exactly what it is. So practical.
I remember.
Go ahead, Jim.
I was gonna say, I remember when I, you know, when I had Ryan actually, and everyone's like, you're gonna nurse. I'm like, okay, whatever that means. And then I had her, and nobody was there to tell me what to do, and I freaked out. And I called one of my friends, and she's like, oh yeah, this is like a big opportunity. Nobody tells you what to do, that it's going to hurt. It's not going to be easy, that you may not want to do it, and like all the things. And I am so grateful for her. So I can't imagine like having an amazing, you know, resource to help through that, because people didn't talk about it. They just expected you knew what to do.
Exactly. And that's exactly what it is. So it has a resources page that comes along with it. So once you open it, you get in this version, you get the link to the resources page, and the next print run will have a QR code that you can just scan and go straight to it. And that, like, one of the things that actually links you out to is a lactation consultant who is my lactation consultant, who does virtual appointments. And so if you need help, that help is at your fingertips. We link to things like freezer meals. So I have a section where I write, like, these are the types of meals that you can make for every meal. And I really emphasize breakfast, because you notice how people always bring you dinner, but nobody brings you breakfast. And that's when you're famished and starving and have a screaming child, and you don't eat until 3 p.m., but your stomach's been rumbling since 4 a.m.
Yep.
Breakfast freezer meals, really big deal. And so, yeah, on the resources page that you get with it, we also have links to, you know, websites we like for different dietary needs, for things like that. postpartum mental health resources, online pregnancy classes and birthing classes that you can do. There are certain things I really recommend not doing online, like infant CPR. I really recommend doing it in person. But there's so much that we can get done online now. And so I like to support a lot of those small businesses and make those recommendations. I think my favorite recommendation, because of my experience, is that I tell people, while you're pregnant, find a postpartum therapist. So a perinatal mental health specialist is what you're looking for. Here's where you go to find them. Program their number into your phone. Also program these numbers for Postpartum Support International. And I have like a giant tab that tells you those numbers. So there's one that you can call and there's another that you can text, which is brilliant. So and what I tell them is, one, research has shown that if you're prepared for a negative outcome, that outcome is less likely to occur. So if you're prepared for the fact that you might have a postpartum mental health disorder, you're less likely to have it, we believe. Preliminary research. But also, when you're in that place, heck, even if you're not in that place, you have a screaming baby and you're not sleeping and your boobs hurt, it's hard. And so what you don't want to do is Google and make a bunch of phone calls to find the right people. And so to already have that information in your fingertips, where all you have to do is send a text and say, hey, I need help. Huge. Right. Game changing. Why didn't anyone tell me?
I don't know. I feel the same way. This is amazing. Thank you so much, Katy. How can people find and purchase your planner?
They can go to my website, undefiningmotherhood.com, and then they can just click the shop button. And I can also put a direct link to where you can shop for it in the comments on this live when we're done. But the easiest way to find it, because it's so new that it's not SEO friendly yet. So at the moment, hopefully you just Google pregnancy planner and it's going to be the first.
It'll be the first.
Give me a year. But until we're there, undefiningmotherhood.com, click the shop button at the top and the toolbar, and that will take you right to it.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. So now we get to ask you some speed round questions.
Okay, actually, so when you sent me these, I didn't read them because I was like, I want to be surprised. This sounds like
oh, yay.
I like that. I like that take on it. All right. So red or white wine? Sorry.
Oh, wine.
Yeah.
Red. All the way red. Always red. Deep dark.
We should write this down and see what the stats are.
I could go back, but there's.
I think it's mostly red anyway. That's why
it's mostly red. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee. Iced or hot?
Iced.
Okay, she's on our team. She's team iced coffee. So what is your favorite flower?
Tulip.
Oh, I just saw some really nice ones at Trader Joe's. Let's see. What is your favorite book?
Oh God, Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
What is it?
Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Oh yeah, she wrote Eat, Love, Pray, right?
Pray, Love, yeah.
Pray, Love.
Totally game changing. Life. If you are a creative at heart, life altering.
Okay. Oh, good. I want to write that one down. Do you have a favorite quote?
No.
Okay, that's good. That's fine. Totally fine.
There are too many good words.
I don't have a favorite book because I have no time to read.
I've done too much.
But I'm gonna read your book when you were
a 19th century one, and you'd have been like, huh?
Totally fine. Totally fine. So when you are not writing for Undefining Motherhood, creating amazing products, books, everything, what are you doing?
I am hanging with my kid.
Mm-hmm.
Or my husband. I'm eating really good food and drinking red wine and wandering in the woods. Not all at the same time, but probably on the same day.
You might be able to do that all once.
Possible.
That is awesome. Well, Katy, thank you so much for joining us. We've learned a lot. You've opened up our eyes to a lot, especially with the myths. It's just reality, really. And I love that you're using your voice and you're being so open and selfless to tell your story to help other moms and moms to be out there. It's really It's really important.
I appreciate it, and I love the space y'all have created. This is the most fun I've had just sitting chatting with people in a long time. So I really appreciate that space and just how fun and casual this is.
Oh no, I'm so glad.
Thank you for being inspiring, Katy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night, James. Love you. Talk to you later.
I know. Can we talk now?
Yeah, I'm gonna end. Hold on. Bye, guys. Hold on.
Bye.